we have to talk about Dhurandhar 2.
No. Dhurandhar is Mahabharat.
Dhurandhar 2 or Toxic, which is your bet?
I would like to believe. Hi, this is Ram Gopal Varma. You're watching Memorable Conversations with Faridoon Shahryar.
Since you're here and we have to talk about Dhurandhar 2, you feel that it's going to be one of the biggest multi-starrers ever. Why do you say that? Have you spoken to Aditya? And is that something that he has told you? Or?
No. He didn't tell me. See, obviously, as the director is very confident. See, I'll tell you, my point is, if Dhurandhar is Mahabharat, I am presuming Dhurandhar 2 will be like a Kurukshetra. That will be climatic, like one climax where he has to probably put an end to all the characters which were introduced in Dhurandhar and their finishing, which happens in Kurukshetra, in Mahabharata. And to that extent, I instinctively feel the drama and the intensity of narrative and all that will be far superior in Dhurandhar. That is my presumption. You know? And second point, I feel before Dhurandhar, I do not believe there is a benchmark cinema. And why I am saying that, you see, different kind of films work. I'm not saying no to that. But it's a template film. There is a hero, there is a heroine, there is a villain, there is a lofty cause, someone wanting to do something for the country. All that is a typical, all masala films have similar kind of lines, you know. But the way Aditya treated this in terms of the realism, in terms of the characters looking believable, and in fact, this is the only film I think Ranveer Singh doesn't have a slow motion shot. The hero, everybody else has. From Akshay to everyone else, you know. That's the opposite treatment to the South Indian. All South Indian pan-India biggies, all the time the heroes are walking in slow motion.
Right.
All the other characters are made to look like they're much lesser and their hero worshipping, including the villains sometimes. Here, in giving equal importance, and no one looks lesser than the other. All in their importance, they become the same, and almost like the hero is disappearing into the story rather than the story is being used to elevate the character. So this kind of a opposite treatment to what big commercial cinema is being treated in the last decade or so, I feel then this film getting these kind of numbers. One is only the numbers. Second is, I know a lot of people who are not from the film industry. They're talking about Dhurandhar's characters as if they know them. Raman Dacoit was living here. I mean, they almost, if you go unexpectedly and you don't know if they're talking about a film, you will think they're talking about real people they know. That is the impact it created, which I don't think any film did in the last 25-30 years. The old kind of treatment of heroes walking in slow motion and for no reason the background music is thumping, back to back when they're experiencing that, even I am very curious to see how they'll react.
Okay, so last time when we spoke, you said that it's going to impact all the movies that are being made, especially in South, with all the villain just hitting the ground and just pumping up whatsoever.
Correct.
And right after that came Raja Saab.
Yes.
And just flopped miserably whatsoever. Do you think that your point was vindicated in a way? And was Dhurandhar's way was responsible in a way?
Raja Saab is a right example, because one is it is come like a fantasy horror comedy or something. I think
I'm talking about the action.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the film, but I would like to believe. See, if you look at a KGF 2, you look at a Pushpa 2, you look at a Salar. Now these films have similar kind of a template. That is very different from Raja Saab as a genre. You know, so I would like to believe Toxic could be the right comparison. Because Toxic still is in the taking forward in the same what is already being accepted for the last 10 years of the superhero and slow motion walking and the like saying dialogue with swag and all that, which is not what Dhurandhar is. So back to back, that becomes a very interesting comparison to watch. Pushpa 2 came 1 week after Dhurandhar. I'm very keen to know what would have happened. You know. See, Pushpa 2 is a big hit. Everybody knows it. Bunny is fantastic, all that. But after seeing the realistic action of Dhurandhar, you know, and I don't think I've ever seen action like in Dhurandhar in my career. Now, if you suddenly see a guy almost flying around, biting people and all that, would they be able to enjoy it the same? Or will they still like this more than Dhurandhar? That for me is interesting thing, because that is the reason I'm going on saying Dhurandhar is the first film which created a benchmark. See, it's like Hollywood film actually. It is not like a. I can't remember a single film I saw which will be in the same meter like Dhurandhar.
Right, Dhurandhar 2 or Toxic, which is your bet? What are you betting on? Because Toxic, the teaser has got a great response.
Yeah. What I am interested in seeing, extremely realistic and believable characters, and the story being so immersive, and the crafting of the director versus like what I explained, like and slow motion, people were jumping and this and that, and nothing looks real, which is a fantasy world. Many of those films work. I'm not saying no to that. But seeing them back to back, I'm really curious to see how the audience will react.
So what is your opinion on Toxic teaser? What is your opinion on Toxic teaser?
See, I am not a fan of that kind of cinema. So I don't want to say specifically about Toxic. I mean, that artificial heroism, which my masters like, they always like. They have 300, 400 crore numbers and all that. I am not a fan of that kind of cinema. I don't mean specifically Toxic.
But the sort of scene that is there with that Yash is having with the girl, for example, and the sort of debates that are going on around that, that has definitely created a lot of curiosity around the film.
Yeah, correct.
And it is definitely unusual. It is not. It is a huge risk-taking ability which is there, and the producer is a woman.
See, no. What I'm trying to say, my point. But I want to, on the outset, give a disclaimer. I am not wanting to comment on Toxic. I'm commenting on the unit. There are two units here. One is a guy is having sex with a girl in the car, and then he comes out in slow motion, and then he shoots, and without having any kind of a tension or whatever, because you have to assume that he's a superhero, no bullet will hit him.
Correct.
And he's so casual about the whole thing, which makes actually shoe look lesser. So this is what is called a hero worship template. Versus in Dhurandhar, the tension and the danger what the hero is feeling. And when he lands in Pakistan, he's being beaten up badly, where his teeth are shattered and all that. And all the time he's waiting for his time and laying in the background. Now, that kind of a realism versus this kind of a boosted artificial heroism, they're two different templates, not necessarily only this. If you make a film like that, and if you make a film like this, which one will affect is something. Both can work. I'm not saying this won't work but the impact which Dhurandhar had, I feel even the film industry is not really realizing. They're looking at the numbers, they're talking about how much it collected and all that, but actual how much it impacted the common man sitting in the theater, I feel they're not aware of it.
They're still not aware of it.
They're still not aware of it.
I had Danish, the guy who played Uzair Baloch in the morning, and he's a huge fan of yours. And the sort of impact I think almost every character has had in the movie is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
As you yourself said.
For example,
not
Babu
merely-
Decade is there maybe for 15-20 minutes.
And you want to meet him?
I just can't forget.
You want to meet
it.
the actor?
Huh?
You want to meet that actor?
I talked to him on the phone.
You did?
Yeah.
What did you talk to him about?
I wanted to cast him in something, and when I contacted him, he sent me this smiley emojis. I was shocked. But I was thinking, Babu Decade sends smiley emojis. What's happening? That was one of my biggest shocks. I know I'm a filmmaker. I know there's an actor, there's a character. In spite of that, because of the impact he created on screen, I felt that.
Now, with Toxic and Dhurandhar 2 coming together, I personally feel that both the films, they are very strong. Do you feel that for an event occasion like this, the country needs more screens? Because there is a market for both the films. But maybe, are there enough screens?
See, I'm really not so much into the trade aspect of it. I don't have the knowledge, neither the interest to understand that. Eventually, it's about the dynamics. I mean, when there is a market, there are enough people. I think this will be best known to the so-called distributors and exhibitors and theatre chains. You know, and if this happens once in a blue moon, big films like Dhurandhar 2 and Toxic coming on the same day, how many times it will happen? And if you're going to amp up the screens for that, what do you do when they're not there?
Yeah, of course.
But I think they will understand those dynamics more.